Hey, welcome to this episode of Guide Therapy. I'm Michael. I share my knowledge of musical gear solutions which are cheaper and better, in my opinion. I really like to learn what I'm actually buying when I'm purchasing my gears. And since I'm really into guitar amps recently, let's just find out what does the guitar amp distortion sound like. Let's go. Guitar players seems been extremely keen on amp distortions recently. They always tell people how amazing their guitar amp distortions sound, especially in my last video's comment area. I really appreciate that people are willing to share their opinions and experiences, cause that will fulfill our views about the outside world. Personally, I never used guitar amp distortions, so I'm really curious about how they would actually sound. I really want to hear them in person, cause, those comments just couldn't magically transfer the sound into my ears. So I still couldn't really get the amazing guitar tone people are talking about. Therefore, I bought these two amp distortion pedals from Marshall themselves. And considering to these pedals' online reputation, I think they are qualified enough to represent Marshall's amp distortion tone. So let's hear them out. First, let's start with the Guv'Nor Plus. And from Marshall's website, this pedal is renowned by its heavy distorted tones with the flexibility to move from transparent overdrives to heavily saturated lead tones. And from the pedal owner's reviews, I learned that this pedal is a nearly perfect overdriven Marshall sound. Works especially well for high-gain distortion in the styles of 70s and 80s rock and hard rock. Well then, this is definitely my thing back then, so let's hear it out. I already used my looper to record it a few phrases, just in case my hands are not playing exactly the same. Everything at noon. Everything to the max. Yeah, I can totally hear the distortion part, but I'm not sure if it is the iconic 70s or 80s rock tone I used to hear. But let me delve it a little bit, see if we can make it better. Seems like I just couldn't get the typical tone from Marshall. Maybe this pedal is just broken. Let's switch to another one. And this is JackHammer JH1. From Marshall's website, this pedal captures all that classic Marshall drive and takes it a step further with extreme distortion capabilities alongside the accurate EQ parameter. Accurate for what? If there is an EQ which is not accurate, ignore it, don't use it. We need accurate EQ. And this pedal also means serious business. Cool. And from the pedal owner's review, this pedal is very musical overdrive. A superb old-school Marshall overdrive, dynamically responsive with well-voiced equalization. Sounds better to me than many much more expensive boutique options. Sounds pretty promising. I mean, who doesn't love distortions with accurate EQ? Now let's hear it out. Everything at noon. Everything to the max. I don't know you, but to me, the sound is just not right. I can't even get a typical distorted guitar tone. Is this the special part of amp distortion comparing to like normal overdrive and distortion pedals? Well, I don't know. I'm new to amp distortions, but since I have quite a few overdrive and distortion pedals, let's just find it out. Tube Screamer. Shit, OCD. Shit, Black Rat. Shit, Big Muff. Shit, King of Tone. shit, clone centaur. Still shit. Now I'm confused. Why do all of my overdrive pedals, and even these glorious amp distortion pedals from Marshall themselves, sound like shit? Is there something wrong? And I also rechecked my guitar signal line. My guitar is directly into this loop pedal, and then directly into my audio interface, and then sending the monitor signal directly into the camera audio input without any effects. To get a pure, undisturbed, distorted tone from that amp distortion. What? You mean I need to use a speaker cabinet and use a microphone to pick it up? No. I want to know how these specific pedals sound like. I don't want any extra effects to mess up with the tone. It's like when you're testing a reverb, delay, or chorus pedal with your synthesizer. You don't want to add an extra filter to mess up the tone. You want to hear the synth sound purely through that pedal. But since you asked, let's just try it. Let's add the speaker cabinet and pick up mic part. And you know me, I just made a new plugin, AnyAmpIR, which is the perfect solution for replicating the complex EQ from the amp, cabinet, and mic, free for both Mac and PC, link in description. And since we are using amp distortion from Marshall, then we'll also use a Marshall IR to make it as original as possible. Let's hear it out. Okay, it's totally different. Let's try a few more IRs. And by the way, with this plugin window on focus, I can just use my computer QWERTY keyboard to switch between IRs in the file folder, which is really convenient when you are playing your guitar. Let's try a few more. Okay, now what I'm hearing is finally sort of like a typical distorted guitar tone. But I still think there's something wrong here. Usually, when we judge a certain effect, we don't want another factor to get in the way. Like if you ask me how much money did I made yesterday, and then I answer you that me and Apple, we together earned $1 billion yesterday, then you must think me as a moron. I shouldn't answer that. If I suck at making money, then I suck. No matter if I bring apple or banana in, I just suck. So when people are talking about the certain amp distortion tone, they're actually talking about the amp distortion, then the amp tone stack, and the speaker cabinet, and the pickup mic, and sometimes even the monitor and their headphone. All together sounds great. Not only the amp distortion. The distortion sounds like crap. You just heard it. It is the thing after the distortion which shapes the tone. Even if you don't use the distortion at all, it is still the things after your guitar that shapes you a proper electric guitar tone. And that is what people are actually hearing and talking about. If you don't believe me, just pair any overdrive or distortion pedal after my AnyAmpIR plugin. Then judge it by yourself. I specifically made my plugin to be free for both Mac and PC so that everyone can try it out and understand what they are actually hearing when it comes to guitar tone. To put it simple, an overdrive or distortion plus an IR, you'll be all set. But please make sure that your distortion has an accurate EQ, like the one in your DAW. Okay, that's it for this video. Leave a comment if you have any question. Like, share, and subscribe. Also grab my plugins, AnyAmpIR, AASamplePlayer. Feel free to support me while purchasing these free plugins. Any tip would help me a lot. And trust me, they will definitely improve your workflow and make it a lot easier so that you have more time focusing on your music and improving it. I also exported the audio files from this video. If you want to hear them and compare them in person, you can go check them out. They're in my Patreon. I'm Michael. This is Guy Therapy, sharing you my knowledge of musical gear solutions which are cheaper and better, in my opinion, in multiple formats. See you in the next one. Peace. I know a lot of people don't like what I'm doing here. They left hatred comments, and some even swear to me through private message. Sometimes it do hurt my feelings, but I think eventually they won't affect what I want to do. I only wish that there are more people doing things like me when I just started on music stuff. It'll make my path and even my life a lot easier. And I just want you to know that if you support me and support my channel, you are also supporting every newcomer who is really into this amazing music world. And we really appreciate your support. That's all.